I know what motivated me to start a nonprofit was seeing kids go from aimless to focused, watching them work together in a routine under the guidance of focus-minded working artists allowed me to see major shifts happen steadily over time. I had kids coming in high, they were late, they were bored, they were depressed, and they were really very apathetic about learning. Asking them to write songs using song structure every day sort of started to turn on a light switch, and they were suddenly motivated to talk about their parent who was in jail, their questioning love, sexuality, being homeless, or if it was just the drama of riding in a crowded New York subway car, they were writing their experiences. I assigned every single type of song, and the professional artists, such as engineers and producers that were working with me, assigned them to beat-making projects and mixing projects and sound and light and work. It was like we were inundating them. And so they had to rise to the equation quickly. We immediately threw them into creating performance settings where they were singing their tunes in showcases for their peers. They had to put their hook up on the screen so that people could sing along. They had to consider how dramatic a hook was compared to a verse. And they were required to sign up for ASCAP and for Song Trust. And they had to think of what TV show or on what film or movie. We did this consistently so that they had to be consistent. And we required them to write about different topics, create visuals for their shows, write to TV stories. And what I saw after 9 months were kids who had completely lost their nonchalance, and they were very invested in their education. They had become creators, and we had developed in them a certain professionalism that never existed before. All these kids are still working 3 years later, and they're still creating, they're still releasing music, and they're seeking to find ways to make a living out of what they love. I believe that Creative House for Young Creatives has a crucial impact on young creatives because when they start the program, we set them on a path of becoming invested in their art and envisioning income streams. And eventually, they're looking at career options. This requires them to have a work ethic, and they have to immediately confront their emotional stops, and they have to talk about their emotional stops and hone their craft and ask for feedback. And they suddenly want to get better very quickly. We want them to become project-based thinkers at a really young age. And we're asking them to be focused and driven in a direction. How many times have you heard creative young person turn away from their passions because they just don't know what to make of a life of doing what they love, and then more or less actually walking in that path until they're actually doing what they really want to do? I see the future of this program really needing an artistic hub, a creative home within a community. So they're doing coding, fashion, design, various forms of product creation, but also they're learning the professional ins and outs of creative industries and tying their creative to a pathway forward. They need to talk through their process, curate shows, write songs that only their experience can really put them in tune with who they are, share who they are with their peers, find collaborators, create projects that simulate where they're headed in the future. And really, why do they even have to simulate where they are in the future? We can air these things and let them be things that are made readily accessible to the public so that their community is enjoying their creations. We want them to move in a direction. They need to sit with collaborators and hear professionals tell them how to fine-tune so that they can move in a creative direction as they grow. If they're 5 and they love writing, they should be creating program for 5-year-olds. If they're 6 and they absolutely love filming, they should be filming. And if they're 10 and they want to be a director, then they should be directing scenes for those 5 and 6-year-olds. I see a community center that really facilitates all of these projects. My dad had that vision, probably not as fleshed out, but he saw kids really displaying who they are. And now that space is ready to be realized. Creative House for Young Creatives needs a home, and I hope to build one for creatives to thrive in their projects and in their passions.